Mason had $15.65 in his pocket when he went to the movies. He handed the clerk $10 even when he spent $7.75 on his ticket at the ticket booth. Then he went to the concession stand and spent $3.75 on popcorn, $2.99 on a large soda, and 56 cents in tax. How much money did Marty leave the theater with at the end of the show? And first thing is I noticed there's a little typo. The name changed here. And let's just go with, instead of Mason, let's go with Marty. It doesn't matter. I think that's supposed to be the same person. Now, next thing is let's take that math problem and let's break it down a little bit simpler. First, focus on the first sentence. You'll see that he has $15.65 in his pocket, and a picture has been drawn down here that shows that there's $15.65 in his pocket. The next thing he did was in the second sentence. It says he handed the clerk $10 even. Before you read any further, I would stop right there. Mason, or Marty, whatever his name is, he has taken $10 out of his pocket. So that's the first time something is going to happen mathematically, where we'll actually need to take $10 out of his pocket. When we do that, we can see that Mason will be left with $5.65 in his pocket. Now, the next part of the problem says he spent $7.75 on a ticket. So over here, you can see that there's a ticket booth where he has walked over and he's taken the $10 out of his pocket and he will be giving it to the clerk. The next part of the math is trying to figure out what his change will be. What will the clerk actually give back to him? So he has $10 and he's buying a $7.75 ticket. Be careful to line up your decimals before you start your math. Make sure they're all in nice columns. And when you start your math on the far right side, you'll need to notice that you can't do that. So you're going to have to borrow. So you go to the column next to it. There is none to borrow here. Go to the next column. There is none to borrow here. But finally, when you get to the tens place, you can see there is actually one you can borrow there. So you will take it away, leaving you with 0. And you will give 10 to the next column. And we will borrow it and move it over to the next column and give 10 tenths. And we will borrow again, and we will give the hundredths place 10 hundredths. Now I'll change pens real quick. Now when we do our subtraction, we have 10 subtract 5, and we get 5. 9 subtract 7, and we get 2. Bring down your decimal point. And then we have 9 subtract 7 again, and we get 2. And then the last one is 0 subtract nothing is nothing. So we will just bring down our dollar sign. So we know he now has $2.25 he received in change. Now he's probably going to go put that back in his pocket, which means we need to add it. So we will take the $5.65 he currently has in his pocket, and we will combine it with the money that we gave him back in change, which is $2.25. Line up your decimals carefully again, except this time we're adding to put the money back in his pocket. Starting on the far right side, you'll say 5 plus 5 is 10. Drop your 0, carry your 1. 6 plus 1 plus 2 is 9. And then 5 plus 2 is 7. So we know he has $7.90 left to continue shopping. Now he's going inside the theater and he walks in with his $7.90 and he's going to go buy some concession. So the next part of the story tells us that he goes in and he's going to spend $3.75 on popcorn, $2.99 on soda, and 56 cents in tax. So the first thing I do is try to get the sum of his total bill by adding up each of those prices. So that's $3.75 for the popcorn, $2.99 for the soda, and 56 cents, lining up our decimals, for the tax. And then I would add up that total bill, Careful to line up my columns. 5 plus 9 plus 6 is 20. Carry your 2. 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 9 more is 18, plus 5 more is 23. Carry your 2. And then 2 plus 3 plus 2 is 7. And don't forget to drop that decimal down. So he's left with $7.30 for his concession bill. Now keep in mind, he's still got $7.90 to pay the clerk from the money in his pocket. And he's going to go up there and he's going to see how much money he's going to go away with at the end of the show. So we know he's going to take $7.30 out for concession. And we subtract that, lining up our decimals and our columns again. Borrow 1. Actually, we don't have to borrow 1. 0 subtract 0 is just 0. 9 subtract 3 is 6. 7 subtract 7 is nada. So, actually, he's just going to walk away with 60 cents in his pocket.